Herzlich willkommen, a very warm welcome to the podcast Creativity, Empathy, Flow. My name is Doris Kessel, mein Name ist Doris Kessel und ich freue mich sehr, dass du zuhörst, damit du als Künstlerin, Heilerin und hochsensibler Mensch deinen Platz in der Welt einnehmen kannst. And you as a artist, healer and highly sensitive person find your very warm and welcome place on this planet. Aloha. This podcast episode is in English, and I had the great honor and pleasure to have a wonderful, deep conversation about Be the Master of Your Emotions with Dr. Wiebke Grimmig. Enjoy this episode to the full. Emotions are not your thoughts. And I distinguish, no, it's not the right word. Maybe there is a spiritual bubble and I can feel that energy, that there is a unknown territory which is like beyond. Just let it be here, because now we're talking about being human. So what do you think about that phrase? Wiebke, you are not your emotions. Like, skip that. This is past. Like, you don't want to know how many times people tell me that I had 2018 a very life-changing accident. I smashed my kneecap, which brought a lot of anxiety up, which took away my identity as a runner, just like an athlete. I did no races anymore, but I built my self-confidence and like the trust in me that I was able to live that lifestyle. But there was a part who was craving to explore life in a different way. So people tell me, oh, this is past now. This is like 6 years ago. Just like, but no, it's not. For me, it's not ago, because today I wanted to record a podcast episode about that accident. And I figure out, okay, we're talking about emotions. This is like too much. I skipped that for tomorrow. And this is running through me. And this is like, there is a part who just sees the gifts behind that scenario and that past that happened to me, which was magical, which was brutal, which was like, and I don't know, I just like have that. It's like a plea outside to everyone. Don't force people to put something away which is not meant to be put away, because it's a part of their life and it's not bad. Maybe it's bad for you, and maybe it seems bad for you because that the person becomes sad. I become very vulnerable when I talk about it, not now. In your wonderful appearance, I don't. But with some people, I feel, oh, whoa, I should stop now because this could be too much. It could overwhelm those people. We're talking about the tribe. Maybe that's their issue because they never experienced that. Or maybe I just like trigger something inside of them, like that something can break in a second. My whole life broke with a tiny little kneecap, just like in a second, like everything falls apart. And I dived into really the unknown, and I feel like I want to keep talking about it. Because this is important. It was an important lesson. And life brought me to Hawaii, and life brought me to Canada. And I had so many magical moments that really like to find out what is it to be a human being and what like means life to me. So when you say you're not your past, my truth, because all of that is me, a part of me.
Yeah.
And all the emotions, they are part of me. They are my friends, enemies. They are my guidance, my inner team. And we can change, we can heal.
Yeah.
We can see things from a different perspective, but I don't like that cut thing. like.
Yeah, yeah. And I get the intention
Hmm.
when people say that. It's a way of trying to help another person to overcome this, but it kind of feels more like there's a missing capacity to
Yes.
see what really happened to you, what kind of impact this had on you as a person, and to not either be willing or not to have the capacity to dive into that. And what a wonderful conversation we could have if instead of saying that phrase, just go in and say, you know what, Doris, this is really deep stuff and that kind of makes me feel vulnerable as well. I
Yeah.
can't hold that right now.
Yes.
But it's about me and my capacity in that particular moment. I'm very conscious. I'm owning my own story.
Mhm.
And that's a totally different message you get then. Um, so I believe we're here not only because of the past we experienced, but also because of the choices we made unconsciously or even consciously. Like you picking yourself up and going to Hawaii and being open to new wonderful experiences.
Mm.
You could have experienced Hawaii totally differently if you were not open for what is the meaning of this? What else is there for me now if I'm no
Yes.
longer the athlete?
Yes.
And that's that's an outlook on life that is no autopilot. There is strength in choosing, okay, now I'm being cracked open to new opportunities, to new versions of myself. And I don't have to be stuck in grief for a life I can no longer live.
Or old versions I suppressed
Mm. Or old versions I suppressed. Exactly.
into people who were, I mean, like you were like, I don't know if this is the right word, like a high performer. So maybe,
Yeah, I was an overachiever, absolutely.
yeah. So to the people outside, so those life-changing accidents maybe don't happen by accident. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I felt guided along the way, and I still feel guided.
Mm.
Do you have something to add or to say to when we talk about emotions and guidance?
Mm. I think the word that comes back to me is what we talked about earlier is belonging. Like if you feel like, okay, yes, I feel guided by this, or I feel abandoned, both can be true.
Yes.
It's about, okay, this is something that keeps telling me that right now I might need someone because this kind of abandonment I'm feeling is a longing for connection. Who can relate to this? So how very often intuitively we start looking for other people with similar experiences.
Mhm.
Like, is this my tribe? Because I don't have to explain much about myself. They get the pain. They get the joy. They get how hard it can be to open myself up to new opportunities, new versions of myself. They get it. They just get it. And so I'm very wary of very simplistic messages. Like they can make a very provocative hook. It can be wonderful to start and to spark curiosity, but there needs to be a different level, a deeper understanding of what's going on. And many very simplistic messages seem to work,
Mhm.
but
Need
I
to
find
work.
them
Good. Yes.
seem to work and they stick in our minds and
Yes.
it's very easy to remember them, but they're usually missing the complexity and the
Yes.
beauty of
And
emotions and how we can experience life.
yes.
And sometimes they can be even harmful, like having guilt suggestions or any kind of, well, that was your choice, wasn't it? Now you have to live with the consequences. And you go like, wow, this is not healing or being helpful at all. It's not connecting me to myself. This is just being a simplistic way of deflecting because you can't deal with the level of deep emotions I'm experiencing. But that's on you.
Mm. I would say I am a very spiritual person. And on a different level, I can see that there I can relate when people say, yeah, maybe you've chosen this, or maybe this is your soul plan, but this is completely different for what we're trying to talk about right now. I just want to spread out into the world that I can feel what you mean when you say that. That you have the capacity that you can deal with everything that life throws at you.
Yeah.
And here comes a big but, a big letter but with thousands of exclamation marks. When you have a person in front of you who has been opening up, showing up really in a vulnerable way with pain and whatever the experience, please do anything but saying that. Okay. Because for me, in my case, that makes me angry because I don't feel understood. I don't feel seen in that moment.
Because you're not being seen.
No.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't need any advice. They need just a silent moment. They need a deep breath, taking with the counterpart. They need probably a hug.
And that was the part that was for me very difficult to navigate because I had to step into a whole new world when I came out of pleasing. Like, how do I connect now if I'm not over adapting to people's needs and expectations? Because I used to use all my empathy to try to feel what's the right reaction you need without asking a question. I just tried to tune in to a degree where I felt like, okay, this is what you need. You need a hack right now, or you need a curious question, or you want to drop the topic entirely. That's enough now. And I tried to feel that. So one of the wonderful signs of mastery of emotions for me was, oh, wow. I personally feel just listening to you that this was a massive censorship in your life. What do you need right now? So I'm asking. I'm still using the same empathy, but I'm asking you, giving you back your agency. What do you want to do? What do you need? What is the kind of connection you'd like to feel right now? How do you feel seen? Because I'm here. And when you feel like, okay, you know what? I really need a hug. Okay, great. Or I just can't give you that right now because I can feel your pain so much. But this is me. To have this consciousness, to be so in contact with your own emotions and feelings that you can display that back in a very vulnerable conversation. That's even then connecting because I show up as myself in whatever limits I may have, and you show up as yourself. And so we see each other, but we're not melting into a very chaotic kind of whirlwind of what's your emotion now? What do you need now? Am I supposed to adapt to that? Did you expect me to hockey now because only then I am a good friend? Or is it perfectly fine between us when I say I can't do that right now, but I'm willing to listen? So that's massive.
This is lovely, Wiebke. I'm wondering, what's the difference, or how can I perceive intuition? When we talk about intuition and emotion. Is this connected? How can I trust that both? those both friends I have.
Gosh, you're asking wonderful questions. I believe many of the listeners might have these questions. I think I'm trying to tune in to be very honest right now, because I used to try to separate these two, but
Yes.
I used to perceive intuition as this very pure, essential being within myself, like the deepest core that's completely untouched. But the truth is that intuition is basically a student attuned to my surroundings and telling me, this is the blueprint from your past. This is how you should react to that situation to come out alive, or to deal with that in the best possible way. But it continues to learn. So I can be very accomplished and my intuition is spot on in how I could repair my car. And I could be totally off grid with people in a personal conversations when my opposite person gets vulnerable. Because maybe I didn't have enough opportunity to learn. Maybe I never had a teacher. Maybe I need to face some emotional debris that's still left untouched. So I think emotions and intuition are connected through the body. And my intuition is a rather, it's not a small voice, but it's a rather quiet one.
Okay.
It's not screaming in my ear. Emotions tend to scream. Like, this is urgent
Yeah.
and it's massive and you need
Yeah.
to know this now. And
Yeah.
so I know, okay, good Lord. Okay. If this is happening, I need to step back, breathe, and just take 5 minutes just to get the signal. This is something I need to guide, whereas intuition can guide me. And usually this is one of the differentiations I have. Like, does it scream or is it very, very quiet and just whispering in my ear? And sometimes it's just try and error. Like, what am I really risking by sending this message? Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Can I clarify this in advance because I've got words? I can use my mouth. I can use my voice to actually, how did you mean that? And to actually say, okay, my intuition was right, but no harm done. I don't need to jump down the volcano and then experience, oh, this was a mistake. I can just ask, is this dangerous? And so emotions tend to be a great teacher for my intuition as well. Like, okay, now you've been a bit overreactive, but the tendency was right. How did you pick that up? What was coming up for you from signals from that person that told you that she's not trustworthy?
You make an example, or I didn't get the best connection.
So sometimes I'm meeting a lot of people these days through my coaching business. So sometimes I'm meeting people at a network event or whatever, and something tells me,
Yes.
don't get vulnerable with that person.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I go like, why? Is this because I'm hypersensitive to something? Or is this my intuition telling me, something's going on here that's in the extreme toxic,
Yeah.
or that just needs to be treaded on very softly? Like, build trust before you do this. Just double check, triple check. It's fine. And so usually that's a situation where I feel like there's no harm done in just voicing
Yeah.
sometimes doubts or just to check on vulnerability. Like, is this a kind of person that would actually gossip about it? How is she talking about other people that are not in the room, that tell me a lot about, is she a trustworthy, safe person? And then I go like, oh, my intuition picked up on that. She's not exactly gossiping, but she's judging in her language about people who are not in the room and who are not entering our conversations. And sometimes it's a tone in the voice, like, oh, that person. You go like, oh, here we go. That's not feeling safe for me. So it's not hypersensitive, but my emotions and basically my past is talking to me in the present, telling me
Yeah.
just be wary of that.
So our emotion try to keep us away from dangerous situations.
Or pull us towards what's,
Safe.
yeah, what's safe, what's joyful, what is developing our potential, what keeps us in touch with, oh my God, you can learn so much here.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. And sometimes that's guilt, sometimes that's shame, sometimes that's anger. You can learn so much here. But you need to guide yourself more into that direction to actually be able to listen to that. And some are just, that's joyful, that's playful, that's amazing, that's really cool.
Do you think that people can change?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That is
100%.
really a topic of mine. I'm struggling with it right now because
Oh.
I I trust in people and I
Mm-hmm.
also have an intuition. And my intuition is highly sensitive to the full.
Mm-hmm.
I also experience that I could be wrong. I could be because I don't know what's inside of that person exactly. I just like pick up on something, we can talk, I can perceive. So I'm just wondering, and maybe we could do that in another podcast episode that from my topic of mine, the topic of mine is to allow people to change
Mm-hmm.
because I wouldn't say I did not experience that in the past, but not like in the whole way. Like a person can like change in like 180 degrees, you know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
ask myself, can I change 180 degrees? No, it's just like it happens little by little. So the whole
Mm-hmm.
movie that the person's like standing in front of your door, like completely changed now. He's like the bad boy is the good boy. I don't know. This
Mm-hmm.
is the truth. Like maybe if the hammer hits so hard the brain, it works. I don't know. So, but I want to make space for that.
Mm.
And there's a part, maybe this is a very naive part. I don't know. I haven't figured
Mm.
out that yet. That wants to allow change
Mm-hmm.
because we do need change on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And we do need more trust. And we do need more feeling safe with people.
Mm.
So, how that could work. And I know that this is a huge topic and like that emotional part is a part of it.
Totally.
But and the intuitional and the highly sensitive and the empathy, but it plays a role in that game.
Mm-hmm.
What I can say, and I don't know, this is the truth, but this is my truth. I would say I can feel a lot.
Mm.
I don't know the truth, what I feel. But I also experience that sometimes I'm pretty fast going into a resentment.
Yeah.
I feel like this could be dangerous or whatever it is. Just like a cut. So
Mm.
I'm keeping away myself to explore that person in front of me.
Mm.
Give that a change is not like the right word. It's like maybe I could be way off. I just like I try to explore. I have once
Yeah.
person where we or can we imagine if we talk about cultures and I'm German and then we have like people who are maybe more emotional and louder, you know what I mean, and this could be like whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is very much energy,
Mm.
but I also feel like that there is so much love
Mm.
and I try to stay in touch and to keep up a connection because I want to get to know how you are and how you see that. And what is this, what I feel right now? Is it just like, is it just emotion? Or do you really, what you said, do you really not belong to my tribe?
Mm.
This is what I am like trying to figure out right now.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
I don't know if
also.
it's beautiful is. Maybe I'm just like wasting my energy.
I don't believe so. I believe it's one of the very fundamental questions, which I would boil down to what does feel safe for you?
Mhm.
And that's a very good question to ask ourselves because most people couldn't answer that. Like, how would I display safety for you in a conversation or in a relationship?
Yeah.
And just to be aware of what was putting you off a bit, it's like, okay, for me personally, when you said, okay, it's a very loud person,
Yeah.
that for me personally is a trigger point to have a very loud conversation, even though it's so joyful. Something inside me is getting a bit frightened and is contracting and is saying that, "Ooh, what's happening here right now?" It can relax again with my guidance, but the first initial reaction is being afraid. So this is something the other person got to know. And how is she reacting to that? So if I want to initiate a deeper level of connection, and I think from what I've been gathering so far, is this person trustworthy? And I say, could you dim it down a bit, but because this is whew, kind of demanding on my system. What and how do they react to that ask? That's an initial point of feeling safe or unsafe for me. Because if she's judging me, oh, I'm impatient with that or whatever, then I go like, okay, this is no safe space for me to lay bare something that's vulnerable and that's important. So
It brings me
yeah.
to another question.
Hmm.
I am I would say, quiet person, which does not, also I can talk a lot. No, so, but I'm not the screamer.
Hmm.
I'm not loud. I am when I'm teaching on a yoga class and there are people that they can't hear very good. I tell them, please come, like move over to me, come like
Hmm.
line. So, because maybe you give me a microphone, I'm not like that. I trained my voice a lot and I know how to use the resonance of the room, but I'm not the screamer. This is not me.
Hmm.
And I don't want that because, yes, it scares the hell out of me because my dad was screaming all the time and that was dangerous because he was in connection, like he was violent. So this is
Yes.
like what triggers me too. So maybe I have just like a program, someone is loud, this is dangerous. Maybe it is not because sometimes people are just like, lots of emotions showing up. So
Yeah.
mm, and I had that experience that people then tell me, could you speak louder?
Mhm.
And then I try. But then I feel like, no, this is not me.
Mm.
So I'm wondering if we have that situation with like, that person who is like too loud for you. And if the person like maybe say, okay, no, I can't, this is me. For me, it will be totally fine.
Mm.
And maybe this would be like a perfect communication full of emotional abundance and emotional maturity,
Mm.
how we handle situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Person just like feels really hurt and triggered.
Mm.
Louder.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what? So I'm wondering if it hurts me maybe a little if people say you are so. For me, it's the kind of the reaction. If people very like, could you speak louder? Or I don't hear you. What? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like it's like I feel like
Exactly.
uh
Whew.
it's like, so I'm not like, it's like I say something and then it comes like this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm trying to do this, but I step back.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you sense when I'm talking about that? Because I feel like this is where maybe healing just can start it because we are different.
Mm-hmm.
We have different emotional capacities. We have different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Mm.
I'm just living in an illusion that it could work, but I just like keep on thinking how it could work.
Mm. And um, I believe that with people who are willing and who are building up the capacity, it's very much possible to have a wonderful conversation about any topic. Even unloading a dishwasher. It can be a wonderful point of connection. It's
Yeah.
just, and I really have that with a friend of mine I'm living together with here. Like the most daily chores can be a wonderful way of understanding each other better, the trigger points, and how we can let ourselves be and connect to what do I need to communicate right now? Because the other person can't know. And it's my responsibility to make myself seen. It's my responsibility. I can't wait for another person to see me and to just wait here grudgingly. Like, you should sense that. You should just be aware of that. Why did you trigger me? I go like, the person can't know. Or did we talk about this and now you're disrespecting me? There's a huge difference. Or are you just trying to be funny and I'm feeling shamed in what I'm feeling right now? Are we discussing emotions? Like, why should you feel like this? We don't have that conversation. We are not discussing emotions here. They are. We're talking about what to do with them. And I'm phrasing them so you can understand my reactions and that they've got nothing to do with you personally. I was triggered by something in your behavior. And in order for you to be able to say, okay, make a conscious choice about not screaming in your presence,
Mhm.
in order to understand the background,
Yes.
that's why I need to make myself seen. That's why I need to be able to see myself, to understand myself, and to be very in a point of at least self compassion to say, this is not something I need to work really hard to get rid of so I can be with that person. That's not how it works.
Beautiful. It's so
This is a trigger for me. I'm very vulnerable. This is activating my system, and I'm not feeling safe with you in that moment, which has got nothing to do with you personally. It was something in your voice.
yes. Wow. Wow.
So, so that's a totally different conversation that's emphasizing connection and our willingness to enter connection by making ourselves seen. And that's a different approach than to you should just see that. If you truly love me, you'd see that. The person can't see that.
Yeah. When we were talking about that dishwasher scene,
Yeah.
I felt just to be with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Just like to be. And like you said, you talk about like the dishwashing thing, like
Mm-hmm.
talk to me about everything you want to talk because I feel comfortable,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
feel safe. I don't have to perform.
Mm-mm.
And of course, I like that intellectual stimulation. I need that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like to be with someone that you maybe you don't have to talk.
Yeah, exactly. I can be there ramming in the plates into the dishwasher and she's going like, what are you angry? I'm picking something. I'm angry and I don't want to talk about it. It's got nothing to do with you. I'm just really angry at a person that sent me a disrespectful email.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
But you're still connected and the other
Yes.
person feels safe because she knows what's going on. And you can feel safe because you don't have to debate your emotional response to something that felt hurtful.
Yeah. So what pops up is the expression emotional responsibility.
Oh, huge one. Another
We'll
podcast
have time
episode.
for that topic. I don't know. When we start
That's huge.
talking, it could be long.
God, that's a huge one.
I mean, we say, and I heard myself saying that too in my brain, I'm not emotionally responsible for anyone. But at the other hand, at one point, maybe this is the truth. But at the other hand, at the other point, if we want to be safe, we make sure to be safe. When we are kids, we make sure that we are safe. So what we learn, maybe this is a pattern to regulate our parents. Then them. And then maybe we become coaches and then we are able to balance our coaches because we are very good in that. And maybe sometimes it's necessary, I don't know if this is the truth, and then to bring back the power and to give them back the power. Like you said, I can sit here and listen, and you can sit here and talk. We have a connection. Like what I like, one of my therapists, she said, try to stay 50% in your area and to go like 50% into the connection. You can ask yourself, or you're like, what is it? Is it 20? Is it 10? Is it 100? Or if I'm here, is it too much in your area? Dance, to have dance. So this is how I try to like.
Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting. Because for me, it's completely different.
Oh, how is it for you?
That's interesting, really. And I love these points when we come to
How
something
do
where I
you do
go like,
that?
oh,
I'm open and curious.
to just celebrate curiosity. I just love it.
Yes.
For me, it's like I don't need to step out of myself to see you, because what my body is doing is creating an image of you inside me. It's nervous system perception.
Oh.
So when I'm staying here, I can observe what is my perception of the image that's emerging from you as we are talking inside my own body. How is my body reacting to it? So I need to be here.
Yeah, this is how can I just like make that better? I stay inside of my body, important, but the attention goes like 50% like here, how I feel, and 50%, okay, how is she like looking? What is she saying? My brain is working because I want to be like, is attentive the right word? I don't know that I give it my attention.
Yeah. And
Listening.
to me, all this is very close. So, so when I get a physical reaction, and emotions are physical reactions, I go like, okay, this is something I need to point out. I need to clarify. What did you really mean by that? Because to me, a story is popping up.
Yeah.
And you tried to tell me you meant X, Y, Z. Is that correct? Did I get that right? So you have a curious, you catch something and you get curious about it. And instead of just contemplating that yourself, you're asking. So you're making a part of your own world seen. This the vulnerable part. That's why we connect. But it's all basically happening in my body or very close to my body. So I'm not actively stepping there because that's where I feel my pleasing patterns are kicking in.
Well, okay.
So I used to be hyper attuned to the person in front of me because that created safety for me. So when I could stabilize the opposite person, then I would feel safe. So in order to speak my truth, what I perceive, and to own that, I need to be completely inside my body or as close as I can and then to say, okay, this is what I perceive. And I have this very transparent language to get you more into, to invite you into this attitude of, I'm not judging you. This is what I perceive.
Mm-hmm.
What do you actually mean? So we're talking about something in the middle instead of a personal essence.
Yes.
And that's a skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not something either of us have been born with, and it's not necessary to experience trauma to develop that. So if I would sit across people say, oh God, I wish I hadn't experienced that, I go like, I totally believe you. Especially if you get the message that just because you experience trauma, you're so attuned to someone else. If you had the opportunity to choose differently, to not experience the trauma, you would. But since you had these experiences and you kept searching, you tried to find sense and meaning and connection to yourself. That's why you're here. That's why you're skilled, not because of the trauma itself. It's because of the strength you displayed to do something with it. That's not an autopilot reaction. This is strength. That's character. That's personality. To see the strength in something where you go like, why is it still so painful? What else is there that I need to understand? And you keep looking, you keep searching.
Question.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I need still to understand.
You try to make sense of yourself, the sense you have of yourself, your own identity. And something inside you comes through with this voice. This is not all that is there for you, to you. There's more to your story. Please keep exploring.
This is so cool. I love this. And I still have that scenery on the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Said, if you want to be seen, say something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm wondering, I feel like really my brain is getting tired.
Yeah, we've been on it for a long time.
That little point.
Mm.
When we talk about being a narcissist, is this the right word? People wants to be seen, like being on stage. This is one of like my topics too, like working with artists.
Right.
So I speak up. I'm on stage. I show up. I'm raising my voice. I'm showing myself in different ways. And some people might don't like that. Oh, he wants to be seen, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
totally. I'm laughing in recognition.
yeah, that what you said brings me to a different level of understanding. If maybe we have a little right, or we have the right to be seen and to speak.
Yes. Yeah. And I think one of my personal ambitions is to be seen, heard, and known as Wiebke.
Yes.
Not as someone else, as Wiebke.
Yeah.
And that's something that really makes my skin crawl even now, because it's amazing to be there and to say, okay, this is not me being arrogant. This is me knowing myself.
Yes.
And I'm showing up for what I can offer to other people, which includes I'm humble enough to keep learning. Arrogance is something we need to define as someone who says, I know it all. I know the truth. I can't learn anything from anyone. And so just shut up and admire me. That's not the same thing as going, this is me. This is what I bring to the table, and I'd love to have a conversation about it.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can have a different sense of, you can even be on the stage doing that. You're just showing and shining and being inspiring to other people. Or going like, oh God, that person is not interested in any connection whatsoever. It's just about using other people to feel admired, to boost the ego.
Yeah.
That's a totally different feel. And we pick up on that very easily, even in ourselves. And sometimes we need to readjust that a bit. You're not being arrogant. You just know yourself.
And you know your emotional inner world better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Express that.
Yes.
Stage or not on stage, maybe in a
Mhm.
podcast interview or not in a podcast interview.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your beautiful questions. That shows so much
You're just
insight.
fine, just natural.
And that's
You can't avoid
amazing.
I can't avoid them.
And that's beautiful. And that's just beautiful. That's a wonderful way to connect, I think, to ask questions and to be curious about deep topics. And I believe it shows a lot about how you reflect on yourself and how you want to go about the world, how you want to meet people, what you still want to explore and discover. That's amazing.
Is there anything you want to say, to add, to spread out? What's really important for you?
Two things. I believe we are here to connect. It's all about relationships,
Yeah.
including the relationships we have with ourselves.
Mhm.
And the second thing is compassion can feel like it's opening the doors to hell, but it's really important to train and get help and support
Yes.
to soften into whatever comes on the other side, because that's where your true mastery of emotions waits for you.
And what also pops up is the word I love is being humble for yourself as well.
Yeah. If it doesn't include you, it's not compassion.
Yeah.
And that can be really hard because it's connecting us to the pain we suppressed,
Yes.
but it's also worth the journey.
Thank you for that.
It's worth.
Thank you so much. Love you endlessly.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Oh,
being
thank you.
open to have that conversation in English.
It was a wonderful experience, and I'd love to do it again.
Me too.
Deal.
Yes. Deal or no deal, definitely deal. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so
So
much.
have a wonderful day, last of the day, whatever. We should finish that right now. I'm thirsty. Once again, thank you so much. And
Thank
feel
you.
out. And did we put out into the world where people can find you? We put that in the show notes.
Yeah, we can put it in the
Find
show notes.
Dr. Wiebke Grimmig. You're on Instagram. Just
Mm-hmm.
stalk her right now. Go on her website. Go on Instagram. Go on her YouTube channel. She has a YouTube channel too.
Thank
No
you.
podcast coming home. So follow her.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.